6 women had my crying 15-year-old cornered in a farmer's market, screaming at her for being a bad Christian daughter. I shoved my way in, grabbed my girls and got them out. But when I found out why those women attacked her, let's just say my revenge was biblical. If you've ever been gaslit, disrespected, or had someone weaponize religion against you, smash that like button right now. Subscribe if you love true stories where the villains finally get what they deserve. 'Cause today, I'm going to tell you how I brought my manipulative ex-in-laws to their knees. I was 46 when my world turned upside down. My husband of over 20 years died suddenly in an accident. You'd think the worst part would be the grief. But no. For me and my daughters, 17 and 15 at the time, the worst part was what we discovered in the rubble of that marriage. Because he hadn't just left us behind. He had left 2 sons, babies from an affair. And to make it even worse, the woman he cheated with? She had died too. So now, 2 innocent little boys were orphans. And my daughters were traumatized beyond belief. See, my daughters were the ones who discovered his cheating in the first place. They were the ones who accidentally caught him with his mistress and found the messages that blew our family apart. Imagine being 15, realizing your dad isn't just unfaithful, but he has other kids. The guilt they carried, it was unbearable. They blamed themselves thinking, if we hadn't told mom, maybe dad would still be alive. Of course that wasn't true. But trauma doesn't care about logic. And instead of supporting us through this, my ex-husband's parents, my in-laws ages 78 and 80, made everything worse. Not long after the funeral, they started circling. First, they tried to file for custody of my daughters. Yes, custody. As if ripping them away from their mother, while they were grieving, would somehow fix things. When that didn't move fast enough, they suggested they move in with us. That would never happen. These people weren't just overbearing, they were cruel. But the real breaking point came at a weekend farmer's market. It was my younger daughter's birthday. We weren't throwing her full party until later in the month, so I gave her a budget to just buy whatever made her happy. Chocolates, sweets, little things to bring her joy. She disappeared into the stalls, laughing, running from booth to booth. But after an hour, she hadn't come back. I started to worry. Then my phone rang. She was crying. Mom, some people, they won't let me leave. My heart dropped. I grabbed my older daughter and we ran. And that's when I saw it. 6 older women standing in a circle around my baby girl, their fingers wagging, their voices raised, berating her, calling her unchristian, shaming her for abandoning her grandparents, telling her she was a horrible big sister for not loving her poor orphan baby brothers. She was shaking, clutching her little bag of sweets like it was a lifeline. I didn't even think. I shoved myself into that circle and stood between them and my daughter. Go with your sister. Pay for your things. Get to the car, I told her. Then I turned, and I lit into them. Some of them I recognized, women from my in-laws' church, women who knew me for years. Yet here they were screaming at my child like a pack of vultures. And their words cut like knives. One even spat. You were supposed to obey your husband's parents. That's what a good Christian wife does. I swear to you, my blood boiled so hot I thought I'd collapse. The shouting match grew so heated that the market manager asked us all to leave. And as I walked away with my girls, those women followed me. Like vultures, like hyenas, circling even as I loaded my sobbing daughters into the car. That was the moment something snapped in me. That night, after my girls were asleep, I logged on. And that's when I saw it. My ex-mother-in-law had posted this massive sob story in her church's private Facebook group. According to her, I was the villain. I had abandoned them, left them homeless and penniless. She claimed they, not my daughters, were the true victims. But she didn't stop there. She accused me of refusing to raise my ex's other children. But instead of admitting they were the products of an affair, she lied. She claimed that the mistress was actually our surrogate. Yes, according to her, I rejected the babies because they were boys. Imagine the disgust I felt reading strangers call me an abomination, a failed wife, an unchristian mother. But here's where it gets interesting. That church? They might be messy. They might be backwards about LGBTQ issues and gender roles. But they are brutal about one thing: cheating. Cheating is the ultimate sin in their eyes. And my in-laws knew that. That's why they rewrote history. But they underestimated me. See, I had something they didn't. Evidence. Because when my husband died, I was in the middle of divorcing him, which meant I had everything: photos of him with his mistress, screenshots of his messages, proof that his parents knew and supported it, even messages where they harassed my daughters, calling them bastards and blaming them for his death. 2 days after he died, they had messaged my teenage girls, saying it was their fault he was gone, that was the line they should never have crossed. So I got to work. I went to a print shop. I didn't just print the evidence. I had it done in glossy, high-quality paper. Then I spent hours at my kitchen table crafting personalized binders. Binders that looked exactly like the little hymn packets the church gave out for Sunday service. And the cover page, a full-color photo of my husband, passionately kissing his mistress, in our living room. Below, in bold letters, ex-husband's name and affair partner's name. A love story. Sunday came. I walked into that church, not as a victim but as a soldier. At the back desk where they kept extra hymnals, I quietly slipped in my binders. Then I left. By the time service ended, the gossip mill had detonated. People flipped those pages and saw everything. The affair texts, the photos, the grandparents' confessions, their cruel words to my daughters. The Facebook group exploded. The names they called my husband and his mistress? I won't even repeat them. Let's just say the pastor had to beg everyone to keep it P13. My in-laws, they were shamed into silence. Letters of apology came in the mail, some even addressed to my daughters. Strangers who had harassed them days earlier were suddenly begging forgiveness. The church, unbelievably, still found a way to twist it, saying, "Well, maybe you failed in your wifely duties, but what he did was far worse." I didn't care. My daughters finally had people defending them. And my in-laws? They were humiliated. They left the church in disgrace. My ex-mother-in-law took to Facebook one last time, crying about how no one cares for the elderly, and how her great son would have taken care of her. The irony? I was always the breadwinner. My great son wouldn't have paid a dime. The same people who once wagged their fingers in my daughter's face now whispered words of pity, not for them but for us. Justice. Finally. And as I tucked my daughters into bed that night, I told them, never forget this. People can lie, people can twist, but the truth always wins when you shine light on it. Sometimes revenge isn't about cruelty. Sometimes it's about defending the people you love, with nothing more than the truth. My daughters got their justice. And my in-laws? They got exactly what they deserved. So tell me, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen play out? Drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this roller coaster of a story, smash that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned, because we've got plenty more stories where this came from.